Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Kung Fu Science. Sorry that I wasn't here last week. I had my wisdom tooth out and it got infected, as wisdom teeth are prone to do, and obviously they're not giving antibiotics as a matter of course. But yes, I'm all better now. I'm just starting off with, there's a little bit of old news now, but I went to the effort of getting the stuff together, so I thought I'd use it. You might have seen the tale about how you hold your drink shows what kind of personality you are. And this was actually part of one of the many stories that's just plaguing media in general. It's not just science stories, but PR companies get in with, they send out a press release about something, and it's basically free advertising. And in this case, it was for the bar chain Walkabout. What they did is they got a study with, it was, got the report that they did, all of 2 pages of it. Dr. Glenn Wilson. He attached his name to the press release, and they said that he had observed over 500 people drinking, and from this had then worked out the 8 different personality types and how you can identify all of these by the way that you hold your drink. It was commissioned by Walkabout, so I went to Walkabout's site and found out how to get the full report, which was done by Van Communications. So I emailed them and they got back to me, and I asked for like the full paper, the full sort of data and stuff, and all they could send me was the press release, which is basically all the same as you'd have read in the newspapers, because unfortunately journalists are rushed to churn out as many stories as they can, so there's a lot of copy and paste going on. Basically it's not really science, because he's gone out and studied all these looked supposedly at 500 people and worked things out from there, but there's no way to replicate it. This is an example of a real psychological study, which is also quite fun. It's called the Kruger and Dunning effect. I'm going to link to a video which explains it perfectly. It's a really good paper. If you like reading scientific papers, I will link to it as well. If scientific papers aren't your thing, then watch the video, and if you like both, then you know, fill your boots. What this does is it starts off, it has a little bit of background on what they're doing, why they're doing it. It then goes about their predictions, their hypothesis that they're testing. It then lists all of the methods that they're doing, gives you the results and the data so that you can study it and analyse it and question it yourself. And it goes on and it draws the conclusions, further testing and things. Whereas the Hold Your Drink study is 2 sides of A4, no real background. It lists your 8 different types. It also gives celebrity equivalents of these personalities. So lots of questions spring to mind. For example, they said that they looked at 500 people drinking across bars across the country. So firstly you're thinking, are there any regional variations? Possibly, could styles of holding a drink actually be influenced more by personality or where you are? I don't know the answers. These are just questions that spring to mind. You can't find out the answers to because you haven't got the data, you can't analyse it. As I said, celebrities are mentioned. So did they actually go to bars and observe the celebrities themselves drinking? Or are they just basically adding celebrities to make it sexier for the newspapers to cover, as opposed to actually observing the celebrities and saying that, yes, Kate Walsh is definitely an example of the flirt, the fun lover, Helen Chamberlain off Soccer AM. Also, she's not quite famous enough because they had to put where she's from in brackets. And there's no data at all. He said 500 people. Obviously, you're talking about drinks as well. So alcohol is a drug, and obviously people get drunk whilst drinking it. What point in the evening did they hold these drinks? Were they, you know, the first drink that they had and then they stopped observing? Or did they look and see a consistency in how you hold your drinks? I, for one, know that my behaviour does change over a night out on alcohol, as I'm sure yours does too. So yeah, that was a little bit of duff science that made it into the press and advertised Walkabout. Next up, Richard Wiseman also did an interesting experiment using Twitter. And this was a psychic experiment. Now, a lot of people think that skeptics like myself who don't believe in psychic phenomena and such are closed-minded, but we're not. What we want to do, though, is we want to have evidence for these things, and the way to do that is to test them. What Richard Wiseman did is he had it all planned out beforehand, and he told everyone what he was going to do. he was going to go each day to a location. He was testing remote viewing, and when he got there, he already had a pre-planned tweet that he would post, which was the same every time he was there, so that there could be no bias within it. He would tell people that he was there and wait for their tweets for them to guess, what they were seeing, what they were feeling. He would then post 5 pictures, one of which was the location, and hey, we've got a little dog joining us here right now. Say hello to Mr. Pig. Yeah, so he had 5 locations, which were already, the different pictures were already decided, so they would all be very different from one another. And the idea was that in that first half hour, people could say what sort of things they were feeling from sort of tuning in to Richard Wiseman and where he was. And then after that, everyone would then vote on locations 1 through 5 and see, what the success rate was. And in each of the 4 days of the experiment, not a single one of the locations was guessed correctly. Complete failure. Amongst those that claimed to be psychic, they also had a complete failure. There was no correlation at all. So it was just a test of psychic ability, and the conclusion is that no psychic forces were involved. That's it for this week. I'm going to be off in London shaking a bucket for Help the Aged next week, so we may not be able to get a video. We might be able to film another one tonight and post it out then, but we shall see. Anyway, I hope you're all very well. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Bye-bye.